Good evening
Hi.
and welcome to the Kim B. Davis Show. I'm your host, Kim B. Davis, and this evening we have Tockqua Edna Center. She
Yes,
has her own nonprofit called Surviving Obesity. She has
yes,
told me in a conversation that she is a diet expert. So we're going to learn more about that. And she has this amazing story of how she went from being unhealthy to
yeah,
healthy. And when you see her before and after pictures, it's absolutely amazing the things that
yeah,
she has done and how she incorporates it into her life. So tonight we are talking about how to get healthy. Good
yeah.
evening, Takwa. How are you?
Hi, Kim. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been so excited all day.
Well, we are excited to have you on the Kim B. Davis Show. Just so you know, you share lots of information on social media,
I do.
and 2020 has been a crazy year to say it mildly. And
Yeah,
lots of people are turning to food. Lots of
yeah,
people have fallen off of exercise routines. Lots of people have gained weight. I have gained weight. I'm like, oh, I gotta do something about this. And a
yeah,
lot of people are struggling. What,
yeah.
first off, I want you to tell us what your story is, but at what point did you realize that you needed to make a change?
You know what, Kim? This dates back to, man, I wasn't an obese child. I was actually really small throughout my entire life in high school, when I hit college. Just turning into an adult, I got a little bit thicker, but I've always been pretty small. So for me, the change started right around 2008. Well, I'll say this. In 2008, this is when I realized that weight was a genuine issue of mine. I did not know that weight was an issue. I knew I was overweight because your doctors tell you, right? They tell you all the time, you need to lose a little weight. But I never took my doctor serious because my doctor needed to lose a little weight. So it meant nothing to me. I said, yeah, doctor, okay, well, you do too. And so we move on. But in 2008, my daughter's father actually took me to court and for full custody. And he said she is an unfit mother in every sense of the word. I was considered unfit to him. He had been in contact with me about my daughter's nutrition. Why is she drinking soda? Why is she, I think Imani might have been about 180 pounds at the time she was 8. I was about 300 at that time, and I was diabetic on insulin, and my daughter was borderline diabetic. And so we did have a poor diet, but I ate how I knew how to eat, right? And so being an accountant, I worked a lot of hours. So I would leave work and I would go pick her up and bring her home, or I'd pick her up sometimes and bring her back to work with me. And we would just eat, junk out of the vending machines. Well, her father knew this. Her father had tried to convince me to make some changes. And because we were separated at the time, and we weren't even really friends, to be honest with you, at the time, because I was raising my daughter as a single mother. So when he came onto the scene, when she was 8 years old, he addressed me saying he wanted to be in her life. I just kind of said, okay, well, maybe this is God. Well, he had his plan, and that was to take me to court to get custody of his daughter. And the way that he felt he could do that was to attack the unhealthy lifestyle of eating, the unhealthy lifestyle of working long hours, being a single mother, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the judge actually agreed. Um, in the state of California, Judge Pfeffer was no joke. I'm just going to let you know. Let's just put her name out there. If you're in the state of California, Elizabeth Pfeffer ain't no joke. When it comes to the children, she will take a child she will take a daughter from a mother. She will take a son from a father if she feels that you are unfit. And so she felt that I was unfit. And I was shocked because I went into that kind of confident, this lady is not going to take my daughter, right? I'm her mother. I'm a single mother. So I kind of was a little cocky as well. So the Lord used me, you know what I mean? And that was the time when I knew. I said, okay, the judge and her dad, they agreed that some changes needed to be made, and I had to make them. And I didn't know how to make them. You know what I mean? I didn't know what obesity was. I had to really start to ask doctors, like, okay, you said I was overweight. What does that mean? What does that mean? And I had to look into that. And so I did. I got serious, and I lost some weight, um, and got my daughter back, and our journey began. That's when it started. I started to really pay attention to the food choices. I started to pay attention to them. This does not mean that my journey of healthy living started. This was just the beginning of me paying attention to what I ate, what she ate, how much activity we had. You understand what I'm saying? That was when it started, 2008. That's when it started. So I lost the weight. I got my daughter back. A couple of years after that, a year after that, actually, I met my husband, who was going to be my husband, um, through online. And he was on a weight loss journey. And so that was pretty interesting because that he had the knowledge. And so he started to share with me different things. In 2010, he started making some changes. He said, I want you to do this and do that. And so the process just continued. It never, ever stopped. From here, from 2009 to today, I have continued to just fight for my life, for our life. My daughter now will be 20 in January. That little girl is now a very healthy young lady who also is part of my surviving obesity team. She's working now to actually be a distributor. I'm not going to say the name of which company she's looking at, but she's looking into that because she's really serious about it. And I gotta say, even though it's been a heck of a journey, what he did taking me to court and Judge Pfeffer taking my daughter is the only reason I believe that Surviving Obesity is the organization that it is today. And it's such a strong passion in my heart today because that lesson, that judge took the only thing that mattered to me. And it was all because I was literally unhealthy, unfit to be a mother, and working too much, unfit to be a mother, because I was not taking care of my health. I didn't even take it seriously. And so what a blessing when I look back now, right? What a blessing that was, because I'm pretty healthy today, and it started there. And that's gonna always be my story. And that's so exciting to say. Who would think that a custody battle, right? Who would think a custody battle is how my weight loss started, how I started my 501c3, how that passion began. And so then I went from, that relationship into the relationship with my husband, who God had sent, even though I was not ready. I was a hot mess. I was still 300 pounds. I had just came from, this custody battle, right? I was a hot mess. I was not ready to be nobody's wife in my book. But hey, like my husband said, I told him, I said, I had a lot of baggage. He said, you got to be glad that God sent you baggage claim. Can I just
Amen.
Just say amen to, let's just say amen to that.
That is
So yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to go back to something that you said.
Okay.
Because what's interesting to me is that a judge took your child away.
Oh yeah.
Because you were unhealthy. We
Yeah.
hear, about abuse. We hear about addiction. We hear about neglect, even long hours. Like, they can't parent because they work long hours.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that that was part of the equation, but I get it because it was an unhealthy habit. You said
Yeah.
that you had to ask the doctor what overweight meant. What was
Yeah.
the response from the doctor?
You know, back in the early 2000s, the answer to that question was your BMI,
Mhm.
right? Everything was based on your height and your weight, and that was it. And so the answer, the solution was to just diet, right? And so I did, you know, I started with the dietitian and it worked. I lost 40 pounds or so, right? Um, and that was just also the beginning of dieting. It was eat half of this and half of that and moderate everything. Everything is moderation. Work out, go to the gym, do your cardio. Weight training was never mentioned. It's moderate, eat 1,200, 1,500 calories because now the basic is 2,000 calories, right, per day. So they want you in a deficit, a calorie deficit. So 1,500 calories, 1,800 calories, something like that was always good for the doctors in the early 2000s. And you exercise. And so in my 20s, that worked great. Yeah, it worked beautifully in my 20s. But once you hit 30, it started to change. The older you get, that did not mean a thing. And you had to start incorporating weight training, and you have to incorporate removing certain foods from your diet as you get older because just those particular foods just no longer work. You know what I mean? And so the journey, that's where the journey was. That's where it started, learning about food. Oh Lord, counting calories back in the early 2000s. It was all about counting those calories, but they never would tell you about the fats. Just count your calories. So I'm like, you know, I got this because my donut has 200 calories in it, right? And I'm on a 1,500 calorie diet, so I can eat 2 donuts. And that's when you start to kind of play around with it to benefit your own emotional desires and cravings. And then that's when it stops working because you start to realize everything that I love has calories in it. As long as I stay up under those calories, I should be fine. So there was days where I would just eat Oreo cookies. I would eat ice cream. I mean, I didn't go over that 1,500 calories though.
But you were ingesting all that sugar and all that fat, and no one tells you how that converts into your
Exactly.
body and how
And
it.
I didn't learn that for years. I mean, years. I didn't learn that. I'll tell you actually when I learned it because I went through Jenny Craig, right, with the Nutrisystem, and they have the prepackaged foods. So that taught me portion control,
Okay.
right? Nutrisystem, Jenny Craig taught me portion control because everything's in these little portions, little bags of chips, little, you know, muffins, everything was so small. And it little cups of oatmeal. It was just perfect. It was perfectly portioned out. So for about $425 a month,
Wow.
it was really expensive. About $425 a month, I was able to get breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, right? And then another snack if I wanted to add, I think maybe another $50. And it was all so portioned out so well that I actually lost about 50 or 60 pounds. So it worked, you know what I mean? But Weight Watchers, when they started their point system, that's when I started to realize the foods. I tell people to this day, if you come to me, I just said it to one of our members the other day, come to me and you say, oh man, Tock, I'm doing everything. I'm exercising every day, but I just can't. The scale is not moving, right? And I'll say, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm counting my calories. Okay, what about your sugars, your starches, saturated fats, and all that stuff? For me, when I met my husband, he was a pro at that stuff. I hated it. I hated the idea of counting. I'm not going to do it. I'm not counting calories. I don't want to read all that stuff. I just don't. It was too overwhelming to me. And so Weight Watchers created it to where it's like perfectly, they have a science to this thing when it comes to the point system. But the beauty that I love is the fact that when you put that food in you download the app. If you've never done Weight Watchers, you download the app, right? And so if you're gonna have, they tell you, oh, you're 300 pounds, you got 35 points for the day. All your vegetables and your fruits, 0 points, okay? Your chicken breast, 0 points. Your baked chicken, I don't care if it's a leg, thigh, it's not gonna be any more than 2 or 3 points, right? You need 2 or 3 of them if you want to. But when you put that stuff in that application, and let's just talk about my creamer, my coffee. We get a coffee, 0 points, right? I'm gonna have 4 ounces of creamer, and the creamer has sugar in it. Yes. It's like 10 points.
Mm-hmm. And then you add sugar to that.
It's like, I don't need to add the sugar because the creamer is sweet. So that's 10 points. I'm like, wait, so the coffee is 10 points. And then, that 200 calorie donut that I thought was good because it's just you put that donut into the counter and it's like 12 points. It's something ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. How am I don't understand how, no wonder I wasn't losing any weight on top of the calories, because these foods, every food, butter, ranch dressing, mayonnaise, creamers, oh my gosh.
All the good stuff. You got to measure the fat and the sugar. And
it's all bad. It was all bad. It was just, you put it in there and it's like, you can't eat that. I'm like, okay, so I got to figure this thing out. But me and my husband did Weight Watchers together. So it was really funny because, listen, my husband is a chef. He can get down in that kitchen back there. That is where our magic happens. It's in the kitchen. He said, babe, so I thought I was doing something good. We was having salmon and asparagus. He was like, I was putting butter on the asparagus, and then I was spraying it with some olive oil, throwing some cheese on it. We thought we had us a healthy meal. You hear what I'm saying? We like marinating the salmon in butter. Y'all, it was just, listen, it was just really funny for us. We laughed so hard when we sat down and we put all of the foods that we had been eating into that counter, and it came up to like 50 points. And it was like, okay, this is not gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. And so, yeah, we learned, and that's just the beauty. I can tell you now with everything that I've learned over the course of from 2009 to today in 2020, I've done every diet out there. I have. I've done them all. I've done Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Herbalife, HCG injections, which are injections that you inject into your body. I've done those. I lost 100 pounds on all of them. I have before and after pictures from 2009, 2010, from 2012 to 2013, 2015 to 2016. I have them all. And they're all different diets that I had because I followed what they said to follow, and it worked. But last year, I made the change. I was diagnosed with having bulimia. And I knew that I had been, binge eating. I knew that, of course. But I didn't know that there was a name for it. I had a friend that was anorexic, but I did not know the name bulimia. I did not know that the fact that I could eat an entire cake and be, happy with my life. I felt a little nauseous, but I could literally eat the entire cake. I would sit in the bathroom and just eat in a bubble bath and just feel happy.
So tell us about the cake, because that was an interesting story. That when we talked about it, you said that you would get up and you would make a cake, and where would you hide the ingredients?
Wasn't nobody ever gonna look there. Like, if I'm gonna hide the ingredients, because I knew my husband and the kids, they nosy. They just be in the business. And so I was like, okay, I know I'm going to make this cake, but anytime I would buy the ingredients for the cake, I had to buy 2 sets of ingredients because one of the cakes, I was going to eat the whole cake. And so, so I would put all the ingredients in my gym bag.
The irony, the irony.
Listen, you know, I had like whipped cream up under like my little flippers and swimsuits for swim days. You know, I had my flour, I had everything in the gym bag, right? In the gym bag. I was gonna work it out.
You were working it out.
I was working it out. And yeah, you know, and I knew that that was bad. But my husband had caught me a few times because I would do it on a smaller scale as well. Like I would go to the 7-Eleven and I would get like 5 or 6 bags of little Swedish fish or what do you call it? You know, the little candies, the little wrapper candies, Starburst, stuff like that, right? And I would get like 5 or 6 of them. I would get 3 or 4 of the jumbo size Reese cups. And I would put them in my purse. And my purse would stay sitting right next to my desk.
Okay.
And he would catch me every so often. He'd just be, and I'd just be popping them, right? Just popping them. And sometimes I would just pop and watch TV not thinking. And other times I knew he was looking at me. And I would just say, what's the problem? Why are you looking at me like that? You know what I mean? Like, what's the problem?
Okay.
And he's like, how many of those you gonna eat? I'm gonna eat as many as I need to eat until I'm done eating them. And they good. And he would just, and so one day I admitted that I had just been eating and I was in tears. I felt bad. I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know the name. And I remember pouring out the purse and it had it was a backpack purse and it had all of the wrappers. Cause I would just eat and throw it in, you know, and I just poured it out and he just looked at me. He was like, it's okay, babe. It's just something else we have to work on, you know? So it was good to hear that I was bulimic. It was like when my son was diagnosed with autism, I was happy because at least now I have a diagnosis. I have an understanding. So I know how to parent this child because I now know what's wrong with him, right? Or what's right with him, right? I know how to be his mom. When I was diagnosed, I knew how to deal with that. So even though my therapist felt like we're just going to moderate, you know, what we're going to do is back to the same old thing that all the doctors say. Let's moderate. Let's do 1,500 calories or 1,800 calories, except now they take into consideration that you're African American. They take into consideration your height. You know what I mean? So back in the day, with me being tall, I think my weight would have been like 140, which is the size I was at like 13 in high school. Now my weight is 160 to 175. You see what I'm saying? I'm about 175 now, and this is where I'm gonna live. You know, I don't have any desire to go. I know my husband don't have no desire for me to go no small, for sure. But I'm very pleased with where I'm at. I feel healthy. I love how I look. I'm comfortable in my skin, so that's where I'm gonna live. But before, that was that, you know, that size was really unrealistic. And it was an unrealistic goal to set. You know, I was never going to make it. Now I know, you know, I can do this. I can be healthy. I know that what binge eating is. And so I had to tell my therapist, listen, there is a list of foods that I binge eat. I don't eat everything. And that list of food is like an alcoholic. That's to me what alcohol is to an alcoholic. It is addictive.
Right.
And I did not feel comfortable having to moderate it. And so I remember telling my therapist, I said, if I told you I was an alcoholic, would you tell me to moderate my vodka? If I told you I was drinking, you know? And she said, no, I'm gonna tell you shouldn't have it. I said, well, that's how I feel about this list of foods that's in my head. And she said, well, let's write these foods And I wrote them all down. All the cakes, all the banana breads, all the Reese cups, the Swedish fish, the Oreos, everything that I overate that I could not eat a portion size of,
Okay.
that I would just shove and shove and shove. I put it on that list. That list is a list of foods that I will never incorporate back into my diet again. They're gone.
Okay.
They're out of here for the rest of my life. I won't have cake. I won't have cake. You know what I mean? I won't have cookies. You won't see me eating cookies. Maybe some sugar-free ones, you know, and even that kind of, it's dependent on the flavor of it, because your mind will tell you if I eat it and I feel like I want to go back and keep doing it, which so far I've had some sugar. I have sugar-free snacks in my house now. And what I can tell you is it has sugar alcohol in it, and it will send you running to the bathroom severely. And so and it doesn't have the same flavor. It kills that craving, because I would like to think, because I haven't had this stuff in a year, that the craving is gone. But the truth is it's not. The craving still comes as a woman, still having a cycle. These things will happen. You know what I mean? Our bodies are just our bodies. And so I don't have a desire to heal myself emotionally with food. That's not there. And I think that's just due to the fact that I'm, cognizant of it, and I deal with therapy. I still have a therapist that I talk to regularly, and I have some really good girlfriends, and I use my groups. I exercise. There's a lot of things that I do. I'm up every morning between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning, every morning, because I need to meditate and I need to pray. Mm-hmm. And I have to get my mind right and get myself prepared for the day, because in my world, as a woman who loves the Lord, Satan gets busy. Yeah. And if I just jump out of my bed and jump on this Facebook, or I have to jump into dealing with my son, Satan attacks my mind, and because I'm not prepared. Mm-hmm. And so I made a decision to get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning every morning. So I'm in the bed about 8:30 every night, because I need to pray. I need to meditate. I need to get my mind right. You know what I mean? And that's what's saving me, because I understand that I have issues with emotions, and I need to understand those emotions. I need to hear myself. What's going on with you today? Why are you feeling like this? Sometimes it's just PMS. Sometimes I need a little bit of me time. I need some self-love. Other times my husband is working a lot. I might be feeling a little neglected. But if you don't have that quiet time, then you don't know what it is. So you eat. Everything is you're hungry. Mm-hmm. You need to eat. Every emotion and feeling surrounds food. And so that keeps me sane. It really does. And that's what's been helping me in the last year. Knowing what the bulimia is, I can now say, oh, no. And I tell my clients and members of our Surviving Obesity group, if you realize that you cannot eat a serving size of any food, just take it off your menu. Mm-hmm. Because it's not worth it. Take it out of your kitchen. If you're gonna like coffee, I can't drink the coffee because I'm gonna overdo the creamer. It's like someone said, well, just put Premier Protein in it. They have all the tricks. When you're on Weight Watchers, you get to become a part of their community. Weight Watchers has a community, and that community is something incredible, because they give you all these different tricks. But unfortunately, with me not knowing that I was bulimic, none of the tricks would work, because I would just overdo everything. I would do the slim fast, and me and my girlfriend would put chocolate ice cream in the slim fast, Lord, and blend it up. We like, girl, this is good. How you doing? And we didn't lose no weight. We didn't lose no weight. So it didn't work for us. You know what I mean? So I thank God for having that understanding today. Now I can actually live. You know what I mean? I can live. And so I think today I'm I'm really living. I'm not, I know you said when I talked to you, I said that I was a professional dieter. And I know you was like, oh Lord.
Well, I asked you, I said, what do you mean by that? And
It's true.
but you've talked about how you use every diet. And I know
Yeah.
people who do, there was one called the cayenne red pepper diet.
Did that. The vinegar. Mm-hmm. The cabbage diet. Mm-hmm. Did that.
Diet. There's the Atkins,
Yep. Yep.
South Beach. Everybody has something. Now we've got the keto diet. Now we,
All right.
you eat in a certain time frame and you fast for
Intermittent fasting.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't keep up with them. And I'm like, and I have people just like you who will tell me, Kim, it works. You should try it. And I'm like, I don't have time to remember that. I want to
Yeah.
have a healthy
Yeah.
lifestyle and a healthy relationship with food.
With food. Yeah.
But I want to pivot because you said something and I want you to go back to it. You talked about sitting with your therapist and you asked a very good question. You said, if I was an alcoholic, would you tell me to moderate my vodka?
Yeah.
You said, these are foods that I should not eat. And your therapist said, okay, let's talk about those foods.
Mm-hmm.
Is there pain or abuse behind that you were using to cover it up? Because it sounds like it was.
Yeah, excellent question. Yeah, I've been through so much that I forgot that part, but that was part of my therapy. When I lost my daughter, actually, we tapped into that. Yes, yes, I was sexually molested from my biological mother passed away when I was 5. And so when she passed away, I had a particular male family member that was not only molesting myself, but he also sexually abused his own daughters. And so that's where it started. And then I left my home because it just became so abusive. I left my home and went into started the process of going into foster care. And so in one of the foster homes that I was very close with, the family, I felt like this could be my family. The father molested me, and that it just transferred. It was like it transferred. And so I ended up having my first daughter in high school. I gave her up for adoption. And that just continued the cycle of abuse to my body. I did not learn what self-worth. I didn't have any self-worth. I have no shame at all in saying that through college I was a stripper. I didn't care about my body. I made some real good money, but I digress. I just had to think about it for a hot second. Like, it's amazing what you can do when you do not have self-worth.
Yes.
And why? And it is amazing how it does not bother you. Mm-hmm. It did not bother me to strip for complete strangers for fun. I got some really good money, but I would have done it for free. And I think that's important to say, because that just really takes you to where that mind was. Mm-hmm. This was just to be used, right?
That's what that's what you were shown at a young age.
Yes, it was to be used. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't dislike myself, so I can't say I didn't love myself. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. And so that was where it started, though. And so as I got older, I ended up getting attacked as a teenager. And that's actually what did it with the weight, was this being in a fast fail out 16 at a club. And this guy gets me in the alley. And his thing was, I just want to hurt. And that's all he said, because I was so rude, so mean to him in that club. He just wanted to hurt. And that's what he said. And so instead of just a regular being, raped, if you will, it was sodomy. He wanted to hurt me.
Wow.
So he wanted to do something that was going to really mess me up. And it worked. It worked. And that was it. That was it for me. I said, I can't be in this body because I was so young and had such a woman's figure.
Mm-hmm.
And it just created so much attention. And I know all the attention wasn't bad. And I do understand today that molesters and rapers, they're mental. You could be 400, 500 pounds. And if that's going to happen to you, that's going to happen to you because they're sick.
Right.
It has nothing to do with what you're wearing and what size you are. I understand that, and that's important to say, but I didn't understand it then. So I felt like I started to eat. I started to close off. I didn't go back. I didn't go out to parties anymore. And I got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and nobody bothered. And I said, I said, okay, well, this is good. You know what I mean? I'm good. Somebody has to go to work. That's Kim, honey. I love you. Have a good day. Yeah, so that's my boo.
That's your baggage claim. That's a wonderful thing.
That's my baggage claim right there. He had to deal with all this, and that was hard because with the emotional issues, hiding behind the weight, I hid in there. So it was like, sometimes like today, I look at some of my pictures and I share it with my husband and I'm saying, I don't recognize that face.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for that.
Thank you.
I apologize for that. But I look at it and I look swollen, and it makes me feel like I remember when I wanted to just unzip myself and step out, because as I started to love the Lord and I started to get this love from my husband, I started to love myself. I started to say, wait, this body, God created this body. I have a soul in here. I have a soul in this. I need to get out of this so people can see who I am, and those pictures, I see that. I see that now because I was hiding in that way because I was afraid. And when you are hiding, and most women know that they're hiding, right? They know they're hiding behind there because there's abuse there, and you have to go through therapy. I have to continuously deal with therapy. When I lost the weight, every time I've lost the weight, it was a struggle. I remember saying to my husband, you're going to have to protect me. You're going to have to protect me when I go to the gym. You're going to have to protect me if somebody tries to talk to me. You're going to have to protect me. And if I got scared, or even if my husband said something cute, like, nice, looking good or something, it would make me feel uncomfortable. I would feel like, oh God, I'm there again. Or if somebody tried to talk to me, walk into the gym, I freaked out. They're going to attack me. And I would go back into food. And that was that hiding. And my therapist now, I had to share that with her because she's not the same therapist. But I knew from when I had to learn that. When I lost custody of my daughter, that therapist dug. And she dug until I was able to spit it out that I had been abused. And I remember she knew there was a problem because I would talk very casual. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they just slept with me and that was it. I was 13, you know what I mean? And that's what they did. I was 6 and that's what they did. It's cool though, it is what it is. And she's like, no. And she's looking at me going, and I said, well, why are you looking at me like that? And she said, I'm really trying to determine if you're telling me the truth. You know what I mean? If you're lying or if this is a really deep problem. So we got to talk about that. I said, why would I lie? And that opened it up. Like, who would lie about that? And that's what she wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I knew after my daughter was taken, I knew that I was dealing with emotional issues due to being molested and being abused. I knew that was something I was dealing with. but I never really healed from it until I met my husband, which is very interesting. He went through a lot, you know, because we discussed it, and that topic would bring me to tears. So I am not even getting into it because I put makeup on for this.
Fantastic.
But he did, you know, he did help me. He had to help me get through that. And that's something that I always tell women today. If you're dealing with sexual abuse, molestation, or anything like that, please talk to a therapist, you know, if at all possible, before you get married, because it is so hard to go through that. And you just have to thank God if you have a husband like I have that went through it, because not all men are equipped to go through that. That's a lot. And as a mother of a son, oh, how I wouldn't want my son to go through that. You know, I wouldn't want him to go through that. That's hard. That's really hard. So, but yeah, it definitely happened. It definitely had something to do with the abuse. And to this day, I still deal with that. I still have to deal with that because I am operating as a survivor of abuse now. I'm no longer operating as a victim. And so the best thing about that is to say I can now educate people on it and I can talk about it. If I get emotional, it's because I'm human.
Right.
And I'm so thankful to God for bringing me through, not because I'm still harboring pain. You know what I mean? I'm over that part, but I'm still so thankful. I know God brought me through that. And so that emotion is emotion of joy and praise, not of still being hurt and trapped. And that's important.
And that is that's a wonderful segue into our next question. And we only have a few more minutes because your story is amazing. The things that you've gone through, how you've gone through so many diets, lost and gained. But how do you stay motivated on a daily basis? I know you said you get up at 3:30 and 4 in the morning. And some of us are like, oh, that's real early. But how do you stay motivated each day?
You know what? I'm, to be 100% honest with you, I am self-motivated, but I had to work at that. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I can honestly say that I'm self-motivated now is because when I started working out and exercising, I was always waiting on my homegirl. You gonna exercise? Oh, you can't come? I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? And so I got to the point, oh, my husband hated it because I would get to the point, I'd be like, babe, we working out? And he'd be asleep. I'm out. I'll see you later. And I would go. And then I started encouraging him because I had my moments where I just didn't feel like it. And so he would stay home. And I'm like, if you don't get out there and go do what you do, you know what I mean? Go do that because I'm going to follow eventually. You know what I mean? But, and so now he will get up and he's out the door. He's also self-motivated. You know what I mean? Because he realized I cannot depend on Tockqua because she's going to have her moments where she don't want to do it. And now that I've slimmed down so much, it's like, oh no, I don't need to exercise today. I'm good. And he's like, okay, you're being real funny. But I just joke around and I'll do it later. But I definitely am self-motivated. I run the group specifically for women, the Cut the Crap group on Facebook. I run it for women because that also motivates me to be able to know that I am a leader. Not everybody is meant to lead. I am a leader. And I love being a leader. It is no coincidence that my last name is Center. Because when I tell you I am so happy being the center of attention, I love it. I love it. And so it brings me joy to be able to provide help to people. And when I know they're depending on me, I'm going to do it. So some days if I don't really feel like exercising, I'm saying, there's somebody that needs me. All right, babe, I love you. Have a good day. There's somebody that needs me. And when I post that, they're going to move. Mm-hmm. And so I get excited. You know what I mean? I get excited to do it. But now it's all about my relationship with Christ. I feel like I love the Lord so much and I talk so much about the Lord that I need to be able to not only represent him personally in my speech, but also in my walk. Mm-hmm. And if you cannot look at me and see that I love myself, and I felt like because I didn't love myself, I didn't know what that meant. if you can't see it, or if I can't see it, when I look in the mirror, I have to see godly love. I have to. I can't see, nice makeup or pretty braids or whatever. I have to see I am a child of God, and I'm going to make you proud today. And that's what I tell him in my prayers. I'm going to make you proud today. Today, I'm going to do something to make you proud. And that's important. And so my weight, there are so many stereotypes, and we can't control them. Being overweight, people will call you, they assume you're lazy, right? Mm-hmm. I ran 8 miles. I would run 8 miles with my husband at 300 pounds. Physical fitness wasn't my issue. It was the diet. That was my problem. I wasn't lazy, but people would think that. I couldn't talk about all the different diets I had done and what helped and what didn't until I was small, because nobody listened when you were bigger, when I was bigger, because they were like, well, obviously something didn't work, but they weren't hearing me when I said I lost the weight because I was dieting. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I use that. I use all of it to continue to encourage me. And if nothing else works, I love the Lord. I do. And I want to be able to represent him in how I walk. I want to be able to represent him in how I talk, how I do my business. And it has to start. People don't get to hear, see the brain through the body. Mm-hmm. And that's important to me. And it's not for everybody, but that is important to me. Especially I have, one of my biggest dreams is to be on TED Talk. I just want to be there. I feel like I have so much to say, and I watch them so much, and they're so inspiring to me that I feel like I want to be there. So maybe somebody will nominate me, because you have to be nominated for TED Talk. But
you're on your way. You're on your way.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way. That's right. That's right.
So we have a few more minutes. I want you to talk to any woman who is struggling with her weight, who's struggling with self-confidence, who may have experienced abuse or what have you in her past, looking at herself, and she can't see her in her best, glorious, healthy self. What would you say to that woman to get her started on day one?
You know what? I've been her, and I have a daughter, you know what I mean? And I run a group with women. And some of them are younger, some of us are older, and I deal with it. And I have to share with them that it's okay. It's okay. You have to be told that it's okay to feel that way. It's okay. And the only way to get through it and to come out victoriously is to speak it. You have to say, I feel worthless. I feel useless. I feel fat. I feel unloved. I feel. And and I want them to have the opportunity to just talk. Mm-hmm. And that's what I do. I like to talk, sure, but I am an excellent listener. And I encourage every last one of those young ladies in that group, and anybody that I meet, you can talk to me. Because once you tell me, then I can tell you it's time for therapy. The African American community don't take mental illness and therapy as seriously as some others do, but that is important, because a lot of times people feel like they're talking to a therapist that just gets paid. And so because they get paid, they don't care. And that's not the truth. The truth is they're educated and they're knowledgeable, so they can tell you steps. And those steps are really important. That's what helped me when I had no self-worth, when I felt useless, when I was just living and I was existing and just watching people live. I talk to my therapist. My daughter talks to a therapist today, and it helps her. We need, my husband, my son. Therapy is important for young ladies, for us even older, younger than 30, older than 30. We have to be able to acknowledge our issues, because look at me now, just finding out that I have bulimia, and I've been doing this for years. If we don't talk, we'll never know. And so I make myself very available to people to just call me, talk to me, text me, inbox me, and then I tell them. I learned a long time ago that I couldn't keep saying, that happened to me. Oh, me too. Because what happened is it just kept turning it into about Tockqua, right? And so that's not the way to do it. So I listen, and then I just ask them, what would make you happy?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not weight loss. Sometimes it's just being comfortable in their clothes. So to tell them, girl, just get you some Spanx, that makes them happy. It's not all about just losing weight. It's not all about that. So just listening. I would listen to them. I would tell them to talk. I would tell them to talk to a therapist. I would, because that's the key. It is. It is.
Absolutely. And the Kim B. Davis Show, we are all about healing and mental health and empowering people to make better decisions and steps in their lives towards a better life. Tell us how we can reach you at Surviving Obesity. Tell us about your Facebook group and everything else, because you have a lot going on.
I do have a lot going on. I'm going to be heading into law school, if God says the same, in January. So I'm preparing to take the LSATs, wrap up this final term. God is so good. I'm the owner of a nonprofit organization called Clear Scope Nonprofit CPA and Bookkeeping. It is my CPA firm where I establish other organizations that want to be a nonprofit. I can establish them and get them federally recognized. And then my baby, Surviving Obesity. We are the website. I'm updating it now because I have some new things going on, but it's survivingobesity.com. And it'll be available probably at the beginning of the year. If I don't get it complete this month, it won't be available again to review as we do some upgrades into the beginning of the year, but it's survivingobesity.com. We're on all of the social media platforms up under Surviving Obesity Nonprofit, Surviving Obesity 501c3. We're the only Surviving Obesity organization. My passion is for women and women's health because I am a woman. So I have a private group on Facebook only, and it's for only ladies, and it's called Cut the Crap. And so if you look up Cut the Crap, it's sponsored by Surviving Obesity. It's for women. You can join that and you can get some inspiration, see a lot of my fun little videos and different things, get some education on health and fitness therapy. We make sure to provide that group with different opportunities, personal trainers, nutritionists, dietitians, meal plans. Our organization donates all those things to people that need them. We also work with personal trainers. If you are a personal trainer, you have clients. Those clients may not be able to pay you, so you want to partner with Surviving Obesity so that we can use the donations and the grants that we receive to get those clients what they need, which would be you as the trainer. We also support those weight loss aids, Herbalife and Beachbody, and all the ones that I mentioned. We support them because I do know they work. And so I want you to try them. If you want to try them, we will donate the cost for those different weight loss aids and programs. All you have to do is be a member of our group. And to do that, just jump into one of the groups, jump on one of our online sites, and just be active and visible so that our funders can see when we donate, we're donating to people who are trying. And that's how you would get in contact with us. My phone number, believe it or not, is everywhere. So all you have to do is look me up. If you look up my CPA firm, if you look up Surviving Obesity, my number is posted there so you can call me too.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Tockqua Edna Center, for joining the Kim B. Davis Show. This was a very informative conversation. Your story is just wow. It's an amazing story of all the things that you have survived. And as people in the church say, but God.
Nothing but God, amen. And I've created some great friends through a Beachbody, Herbalife, in different places. I didn't do it alone. Between my therapist, my Lord, my husband, and personal trainers and different people, I shout them all out. They are all part of my movement now, and I make sure that you guys get connected with them when you need them.
And that is a great way to end our interview. No one can do anything in this life alone. You need to have a village, a community, a support system around you to help you. So thank you
Amen.
for sharing that. I'm sure we're going to have you back on the Kim B. Davis Show to talk more about health and continue this story, like I said, because your story is just amazing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been such a pleasure. I'm so honored and humbled. And I pray to God that this message reaches those that need it and they get in touch with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching the Kim B. Davis Show. I'm your host, Kim B. Davis. I hope to see you on our next episode. And as always, remember, be magnificent.
Bye.